Hi and good evening. Welcome to Aderans UK Live. If you've just joined us and you caught the start of that video I think is just amazing. It sets the scene for the whole evening that we're going to be talking about. We're talking about our high fashion collection, and we've got 4 new really exciting wigs to actually show you and 3 new colours. Because we started off with our live video, I'd just like to actually introduce ourselves. I'm Jen Kelly from Aderans UK Live, and I've got Bradley with me, who's from Aderans UK Live, from a different studio that I'm actually in, and Aderans. And Bradley is going to actually be looking at all your questions this evening. Any questions you've got, please just pop them in the comments box. All your comments are really, really good, and we'd like to address all those as we go through the evening. And we just hope you actually enjoy the 4 new styles that we're going to actually show you this evening. Would you like to add anything, Bradley, about what's happening this evening on Instagram, Facebook,
Absolutely.
and YouTube?
So it all seems to be working correctly tonight, Jane, which is fantastic. For the first time we've got there. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. That was Jane's input last minute there, telling us, let's put the video on. That would be so much fun. Which was excellent. So we've literally just dropped our high fashion collection to our website, which would be perfect for you to learn all about tonight. And Jane's going to very in depth take you through each style individually, aren't you, Jane? And just introduce us to the new colours and styles.
I am, yes. And we got 4 new styles, three new colours to actually introduce to you. So it's going to be quite an exciting evening. With the colours, we've got 2 new pastel shades that are being added into the collection. So that takes the total of pastel shades up to 5 in the high fashion collection, and making the total of colours 78 in total. So there's a huge choice of colours for you to actually look for that right colour and the right style for you as well. As we go through, I'll describe the new colours to you and actually look at all the new styles as well. I think by watching the video, it's a great way just to introduce that, because you can really see it as a lifestyle, how people look when they're actually wearing all of these wigs. Firstly, I'm going to actually introduce the Shane. The Shane is a great little style. It's a small little bob, a very short bob. It's an A-line bob. You've got a lot of them left through the back, cut lovely into the front, and I'm just going to pop that onto a head so you can actually see how that works. Firstly, though, I just wanted to show you the cap design that we've got with this new style, and the cap design is lovely. We've got machine wefting through the back insides, but as you can actually notice, just below that top area of your head, going down towards the occipital bone, we've got machine wefting, but it's actually on a stretch net. And sometimes I know, ladies, when you're wearing the wigs, you actually feel a little bit exposed here if the actual hair stands up, and that's going to actually solve that issue for you. Then you've got your cap construction on the top, very lightweight, and we've got that lovely lace parting in lace front. And by giving it that lace parting in lace front, it just makes that hairline look so natural for you. And if I just pop that onto my hand there in front of the camera, you should be able to see how natural that looks. And let me just bring in my head, and we'll use this little head for the evening so you can really see how these styles work. This particular one, I'm later on, once I've showed you the styles, I'm going to actually start doing a little cut on this particular one, but in a different colour. And this evening, we're going to actually put out a little competition for you as well. So listen out for our question in a moment. It's going to be a very easy question. I've already actually said the answers this evening to you as well, and I will mention them again. But whoever actually gets the answer right will actually get the wig that is actually cut this evening. So you're going to get one of the new styles, which is this one, Shane, but in one of our pastel shades. So it's going to be a really nice prize for you. The colour of this one is one of our order colours. It's been out for a couple of seasons now, And this is the milk tea long rooted. As you can see, we've got that 4 to 5 centimetre root area, and then those lighter, milkier ends coming through it. As you can see with this style, if I turn around, you're getting that really nice shape and nice silhouette on the top of the actual head, and the hair just tapers beautifully into that nape area.
So Jane, how would you describe the milk tea colour if you could do it, obviously, for people that are watching, because it's very much reflecting a lot of colours from the screen and stuff right now, and it's almost got a bit of a purple tinge to it, so it's quite a different shade.
Yeah, I would say when I'm looking at it, looking at that root area, we've actually got a really warm brown with those undertones of kind of a purple shade going through it. Down through those mid-length and ends, we've got some lighter hair, and it's lots of different tones of light shades running through there. It's almost as if somebody's bleached their hair, and then they've actually just put a toner over the actual top, which is absolutely lovely, and it just picks up all those different hues that you've actually got with it. I think all in all, beautiful colour, and with this style it works really quite well as well. You can see how lovely and natural that parting looks, and let me just take the head off that stand, and that's absolutely gorgeous. You can just see that lovely parting and that really, really natural lace front to it as well. So if the wind blows, you take your hair back, nobody's going to actually see any kind of telltale signs that you're actually wearing a wig. Hair length you're looking at is about 5.5 inches on the top, about 6 inches through that front area, and just tapering in really nicely to about 3 inches at the back. I think with a lot of use of products as well, Bradley, you're going to be able to create a lot of kind of interest with that wig when you're wearing it. You can actually kind of jazz it up to make it quite funky, or you can actually keep it quite toned down to actually keep it quite soft and quite natural looking. Something for every age group, I think, as well. It really does kind of work quite well for people. But that's the really nice feature, I think, on the back of that particular one, which is called the Shane. So we'll just pop her back.
So Jane, before we move on to the next piece, because I'm aware a few of these have got the lace fronts, haven't they? What exactly is the importance behind a lace front? Because we hear it a lot. It's a real buzzword. People look for it now, and everyone, you know, I see on TV people actually refer to their wigs as their lace front. It's got a real kind of thing attached to it now.
It has. I think really with lace front wigs, if we just take her off again, and over the years and over the recent years, a lot of people, when they're looking to buy a wig, actually they might Google it, they'll put it in the search engine to actually look for lace. It's because people want something that's very lightweight to wear. So when you've got a lace front and a lace parting, that area is going to be all hand tied for you. The rest of it is all machine made, but that particular area is going to be all hand tied. That's making it much lighter weight for you. Some wigs and some foundations actually have a bigger area of hand knotting. The more hand knotting on it, Bradley, the lighter weight the actual wig is, and the hair will actually flow a lot more free flow as well. So it's going to actually move like our own natural hair does. So it makes it easier for styling, and you can actually change that style as well if you actually want to. The obvious thing and the best thing about those lace fronts, though, or what we actually showed earlier, is that naturalness if you take the hair away from your face. So many people wear their hair away without a fringe. I mean, many years ago, a lot of people, if they were wearing a wig, always had a fringe. And that was just to disguise that blunt hairline that you actually get. Now we want things to be much softer, much more natural. And by using that lace front, that's what you actually get as well. And if you've got somebody wearing a wig with a lace front, and they've got no hair, What you will actually see is just the colour of their skin coming through that lace area. I know there's a lot of you out there who might actually be wearing hair. You know, you've got your own bio hair and you're having a lace front. And when you put it on, you might be able to see the tone of your hair coming through. As a tip, if you've got a rooted wig, but you've got quite blonde hair and you're quite fair, but you're going for a darker root, if you actually take a wig cap of the same colour or similar colour to the root, pop it on over your scalp, over your hair, pop your wig on top, and then you're going to actually just see the darkness of the actual wig cap coming through that lace, and you're not going to see any lightness coming through if you've got your own growing hair. So that's quite a good little tip for you to actually go on this evening. 3 of the actual new wigs are all actually made on that same foundation. So you've got 3 really high quality bases with that really natural lace front, which is beautiful. The only one that's actually made without the lace front is this one, which is called Wire. Again, another fabulous wig. This is one of our new colours as well. So really excited with this colour. This colour is the Snowy Sapphire R. Again, it's one of our rooted colours. It's one of the pastel colours that we've added into the collection. So that's making it 5 pastel colours that we've actually got now to the collection of colours we've got in the high fashion. So we've got the 1 to 2 centimetre root, and that's actually done with a very soft black. It's not a harsh black shade. If you can actually look at it quite closely, it's kind of just more of a sooty black. It's not too stark and not too harsh on anybody. Then the rest of the colour is a very silvery white tones, and you can see like on the ends of the hair those beautiful silvery white tones. And then we've got that hint of blue going through it. So again, it's if, you know, somebody with their own bio hair that are going grey or they're quite white, and they put, say, like a blue rinse over it, like, you know, many years ago you would see kind of your grands putting that blue rinse on, it would be the similar kind of effect that you're getting. But because you've got, and when I shake that, you can see the depth of colour and tone actually coming through that. So as the wind just ruffles it when you're walking along, if you put your hand through it, you're going to just see those darker tones coming through. So I think for one of the new colours, going through to the spring and summer, I think it's a great colour. But I think actually it's going to be one of those colours that's going to be with us for quite a long time, because it's going to look great in those winter months as well, when it's quite icy and snowy outside.
Jane, it's very similar to the colours we discussed, isn't it, in our previous webinar when we were looking at the greys, the ultimate grey.
Yes.
So it's quite a nice new take on that, because it's got, you said it has like a blue base to it, didn't you? It's got some blue, like sort of underlights.
Yeah, you've got the really white, you've got the really white silver. Let me turn it around this way, going on through it. I just turn it that way, you might be able to see it better. So you've got those really nice lighter white tips to it. And then going through, you're going to see the actual tones of blue that just actually just pick up on it gradually. But it's that really, really white end to it.
You can definitely see it.
That's picking up quite nicely now on the camera with that light.
It is.
I think,
We've had a couple of questions. Had a couple of questions come in, Jane. One of them is, are these pieces human hair?
No, for anybody watching, we've talking tonight about the high fashion collection, the Renier Paris high fashion collection. This is a collection of wigs, and they're all synthetic wigs. So all man-made fibres, very, very easy to maintain and look after. They're not human hair. I think to actually achieve some of these colours in human hair would be quite difficult, because you'd have to bleach the hair and lighten it so much, then tone it, that you're going to lose that condition. So these are all actually synthetic wigs. And the high fashion collection is one of those collections, hence the name, that they are fashion wigs. We use a lot of fashion colours as well. We add new wigs into the collection every year. So each year we'll add 3 or 4 new styles, we'll add 3 or 4 new colours as well. Just so we can keep abreast of the fashions. We're always talking to other designers, other hairdressers in the industry to see what's actually happening, like for 2022 and 2023. So we can always be there with them. And I think that's the key thing. And if you wanted, you've got your own bio hair, but you wanted a real change of look, you were, you know, not at the moment, but hopefully soon going out at the weekend, going to a party, meeting up with friends again, and you just wanted to have something really different to wear. This collection of wigs are a very affordable collection as well. So it's something that you could buy like you would buy a new outfit, a new handbag, or a new pair of shoes. I mean, for instance, the wire that we're actually looking at now, that actually retails, so our recommended retail price is £133. So it's really quite inexpensive, and it's something that you could really kind of wear to that party and, you know, give your friends a completely different look and image to what you've actually had before. And with this wire, I think this is a great addition to the collection as well, Bradley. Bradley designs all of our brochures for us, so he knows the wigs inside out, the styles, because he actually designs our brochures. And that's the front cover of the high fashion of our new brochure, which is absolutely beautiful. You can see all the styles all on our website now, so you'll be able to go on the website, look at the styles, look at the actual colours as well. And in the collection, we've got lots of bobs, lots of classic bobs, nice and smooth, nice and straight. But we don't really have that textured bob with that little bit of curl and that little bit of oomph to it. And I think this is where it's great. You could be a lady who normally wears her hair quite straight in a very classic bob, but you just want that slightly different look, as if you've kind of, you know, that beach kind of look. You've got that nice wave and that nice movement to the hair. So with this, you could actually buy a straight one. You could, in the same colour, and buy one with this wave, and then you're going to actually have 2 different looks, and it's just like you've blow dried your hair differently. As I turn that one around, you can see.
We've got lots of questions coming through tonight. Jane, I can tell you're really excited about all this. There's lots coming through.
Oh, excellent.
So,
good.
One of them is, where did you get the mannequin heads that are behind you? Love the tall one. That would be great for displaying wigs.
The tall one is absolutely beautiful. They are, they're probably vintage, actually, if you could go that old. I've been here now for, what, 27 years, working with wigs and playing with wigs. And these mannequins have been with me the actual whole time I've been here. We're not able to get them anymore, unfortunately. It's something I'm constantly on the hunt for, looking for really nice mannequins. These, sadly, I can't actually get them. If we ever do, you'll be the first to know if we ever find them again. But yeah, they are really nice mannequins. Thank you. They are great. Oh, and somebody said that they love the front colour of the brochure as well, Bradley.
Oh, thank you very much.
Which is good. Down to your design.
It's always a good start.
And
so
that's the
just to clarify about this.
On the front
Just to clarify about the brochure, we've had some questions as to whether this is a new brochure. It's a new brochure. We launch a new brochure every year for this collection. The collection itself, though, isn't new. As Jane said, we just inject new, fresh styles into the collection once a year. And it's a very, very good collection.
It's a great collection, I think. Only because it's so affordable, and it's affordable to anybody wanting to wear a wig, change their hair, or if they're a necessity wearer, you can change your wigs quite regularly if you wanted to. So I just want to show you that lovely wave again that we've got going on. So you can just actually kind of just twist a little bit of product into those ends just to enhance that wave, or you could actually brush it out and make it quite smooth. When we actually go around the back, you can see that lovely movement that we've got all the way through. And again, as we said, you know, if the wind was actually blowing it or just ruffled it slightly, you're just going to actually see that just darker tone coming through on the snowy sapphire. and take it around to the other side for you. And then it's got a lovely little side fringe that you can take across to the side, or you could actually just bring it down straighter and actually have it cut so it's a lot heavier if you wanted more of a heavy fringe to it. I think it's actually one of those quite a versatile style again. Something I think will actually sell quite well and be quite popular, just to give those ladies who normally wear a sleep bob into something completely different, which is really good. So I'm just going to introduce ourselves again for those new viewers who have actually just started watching us. Welcome to Aderans UK Live. I'm Jane Kelly and I'm with Bradley this evening. If you've got any questions, we're on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. Any questions, please just pop them in the comments box and Bradley's going to keep an eye on those for me. I can see some popping up, but without actually stopping talking to look and concentrate on them, Bradley takes care of all those. We're going to be looking at the high fashion collection. As we said, it's 4 new wigs that we've actually got and 3 new colours. Excuse me. 2 of the new colours are a pastel shades. So that means we've got 5 pastel shades in the collection now. And in total, 78 colours. So for anybody wanting that colour change, not sure what they want, we've got lots of choices for you. In total, we've got 30 blonde shades, we've got 21 brunette shades, and 16 red shades as well. So there's something there for everybody. And the new ones are just absolutely fabulous to look at and to actually work with.
So Jane, just before we move on to the next style, we've got a few more questions to answer. One of them is we've had a few people requesting brochures. So our digital version of the brochure will be available on our website this evening. But what you won't be able to do right now is get yourself a physical copy, and that's purely down to the pandemic and how things have laid out at the moment. The physical copies of the brochure will be available upon request shortly. But if you want to drop an email request to us, we can keep your name on a list and communicate with you when they are ready and get one sent out to you as soon as possible. The other question was the colour that was just shown Illumina Art or Pastel Blue? And I can see that that question's been answered for us. It's the new Snowy Sapphire R, which is very close. You're very correct. Well done.
It is very close, but it's actually a softer colour, I think. It's not quite as blue and not quite as harsh in colour. It's much softer. Oh, move the label, I think. Much softer tones on that colour, which is lovely. So yeah, everybody just keep all your questions coming through. We love having all the different questions and all the interaction from you. If you've seen the video at the beginning of the programme, it was just a fab way to actually open this evening. We're going to play it again at the very end of the programme as well. So if any of you did miss it, you can actually watch it again at the end. I think it gives people a huge amount of inspiration to think that they can actually look like that and actually have that kind of lifestyle when they're actually wearing a wig. Do you know much about how they do all their photo shoots, Bradley? They're normally in America, all these are shot, isn't it, for this collection?
Yeah, so we work with a few different brands actually that take their own shoots as part of Aderans or otherwise. And they tend to work with the same models, give or take a couple of differences each catalogue that they work with. And depending on the kind of people that are, you know, buying into those styles and that range, they tend to organise the shoots around that. So with the high fashion, it's a little bit more, I guess you would say, street, kind of, you know,
yeah,
I guess more youthful in a way, and a little bit more edgy. So as you would have seen in the video from the beginning, all of the models were, they're kind of in like industrial environments, you know, warehouses and in car parks, that kind of thing, just hanging out, looking quite cool, quite street. And they do, as Jane, you said, you know, they stylize the wigs and they dress the models in clothes to be appropriate with those. And you can really get a sense of how people could wear the pieces and really dress them up as part of a full outfit. So I guess, as you were saying earlier, you don't necessarily need to be somebody that needs one of these for a necessity purpose. It could just be that you're wearing it as part of your outfit or for a change.
Absolutely. And I think when you watch the video, when you look at the brochure, you're almost kind of buying into that lifestyle, aren't you, really? And the
Yeah.
images are great because they show you how you can accessorize them as well, just by wearing necklaces and earrings and different things. How, you can really make that wig look like it's your own and make it look like it's your own hair really quite easily. And I think that's what it's all about when you're wearing a wig, or when you're wearing a wig for the first time, or maybe you've been wearing one for quite a number of years now. It's owning that wig. It's, it is yours. You have bought it, but it's really owning that wig and really actually trying to change things, use products on it to make it yours. And that's when people don't look at you twice and won't think that, you are actually wearing artificial hair or wearing a wig at all. So it's trying to get to that level of confidence when you can really walk out in the street, walk through your office door, head out, hold your head up high and really kind of own that wig that you're doing, which is great. This is another of our new ones. This is the Max. And I think this one's another really quite exciting style. It's a very short style, so we're very short at the back, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. On that crown area, we're about 5.5 inches, and about 5.5 inches at the front. But what is nice about it is it's got this lovely curl and wave pattern to it. And I think when we look at a lot of short wigs, we tend to think that they're for kind of more mature clients, more slightly elderly clients. But these are actually really giving you something that is much more kind of funky and much nicer to actually wear. This is one of our new colours as well, which we're excited about. This is called Watermelon R. Again, you've got that very subtle root area, just 1 to 2 centimetres of a root, which is really great. And it's a rich pinky red root area. And then we're actually going down to these very soft pastel pink, subtle little tones through it. So it's as if the sun's lightened your hair and you've just got that very soft pink going through. Again, you can actually see that darker root area as you actually move the hair, which is absolutely beautiful. Foundation wise, again, is one of the nice foundations. So we've got that on a machine wefted, but we've got that all important lace parting and lace front to it. And by having that, we're going to be able to actually take the hair away if we want to. I'm just going to pop the Max onto this head so you can actually see what it is actually like.
This is a great one, isn't it, Jane?
I just think it's fab because short hair normally is quite boring. It's quite short. You can't do too much with it. But playing with this one, you can actually really change that style and look. You've got this really lovely back that just tapers into your nape area beautifully. But here you've got all this curl and movement. So you can really kind of encourage that curl if you want to. If you wanted to make it flatter, you could actually just take it through with a brush with your fingers and actually flatten it down as well. So you don't have to have all that curl. And that's as easy as it is. As you've seen then, just with my fingers, I can actually just take that curl away. But I think it's great just to encourage that kind of height and that lift that you can get at that crown area. And if we bring it around to the actual side, you're going to actually see this is cut very, very short on the underneath, but you've almost got these little kiss curls that are actually coming onto the actual face, which I think again is actually quite cute and quite nice. So you can really encourage that curl. Again, you can actually wear it quite flat. If you actually wanted to wear it quite flat, you could bring it forward and just take that hair back, so you've just got a very soft layered look to it. I think what really actually stands out most of all though is because of that lace front, and you can do it just with the heat of your hands to encourage that hair to actually stand up and actually move away from your face. And that's what we're doing here, because we want to just take that hair away from the model's face, just to give it that lift and that completely different look for the actual wig for the Max, for this, you know, client as she was wearing it. And it just gives you that softness again, just round through those sides, so it hides any of the foundation, but you can really lift that up. And I'm just going to bring that a little bit closer to the camera, because I want you to see how natural that lace front actually looks.
So
and
Jane,
it just gives you that impression of somebody's hair grown from the scalp is just beautiful. Bradley?
This piece reminds me very much of an item that was used in that. Do you remember when we did our Pixie webinar a few weeks ago?
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
got inspiration, didn't we, from Dua Lipa in Vogue? There was a
Yes.
secondary wig that was used in that shoot. And I'm just going to try and put that in the background of the webinar now while we're live, so we can see if we can get an idea.
Oh, see.
There we go. I don't know how much of it you'll be able to see without us taking our cameras off, but
yeah,
it's that tone and the texture, and it's very similar, isn't it, in style to that?
It's very, very
stuff.
similar. It's got that little root to it as well. It's almost as if somebody's kind of, you know, put some pin curls in there and done, you know, if you're an old hairdresser, we all remember doing pin curls and finger waves. And it's that kind of look that people are going for in achieving. And on this style, it's really easily done with those cute little curls that you can bring around the face. So one, I think, to try, and one to actually play around with, definitely. And especially in this new colour, the watermelon R, it's going to be a really nice colour that you can take through the spring and moving into the actual summer months as well. It's that really nice, fun, summery colour, isn't it? Which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, one that I actually, when I first seen it, I wasn't too sure when I seen the images of it, but seeing it in real life and playing with it, you can really, you know, manipulate it and actually do quite a lot with this wig. And I think that's what's so nice and such fun about these kind of things, really. So
well, James, I've got a question about this one as well. With the Max,
okay.
Are we able to blow dry this wig using a cool setting just to alter it for a slight change?
Right, okay. With all of the high fashion wigs, they're made on what we call a synthetic fibre. We don't recommend that you put any heat on them. If you were to actually blow dry it or put any direct heat on it from straightening or curling irons, you're going to actually damage the actual fibre of the wig. If you wanted to change it slightly, you could probably get your hairdresser to do that for you, or a salon to do it for you. Again, when you actually wash it, it will just go back into this shape. If you wanted it to actually go back more, just brush it in the direction where you want it, and it's going to dry in that direction for you. So that's what I would actually recommend to do. I wouldn't recommend that you put any heat on it at all, because you are going to have problems. And that's with any of our synthetic wigs, really. There are some collections out there that are made with a high heat fibre, and we'll probably cover those in another evening with you. But these particular ones, you're not allowed to put any heat on it at all. So just be really careful and mindful if you were going to actually do anything with your wig. Just pop her back.
Jane, what products would you recommend using in terms of cleaning these pieces?
Right, the products that we actually use for cleaning any of our synthetic wigs, any of those collections, are the actual tea range. And let me just take the bottle out. So if you're using wigs, you probably recognise this range. You can actually buy it in a kit form, where you get a shampoo, a conditioner, and the softening sheen. You also get a wig cap, and you get a wig brush. With synthetic wigs, we recommend that you actually always wash them at least 7 to 10 days. So after 7 or to 10 wears. So if you're not wearing it every day, after you've worn it about 7 times, then we would recommend that you actually wash the wig. Always use tepid water. Don't use hot water, because hot water, if you were to immerse it in hot water or run really hot water over the wig, if it's got any curl in it, like the max, you're going to actually straighten that curl out. So be really careful. Always just tepid water, and make sure that you use the right products. And one of the really, really important products that we actually use, and what you need to use on all of your synthetic wigs, is the actual softening sheen, which is a conditioner spray. And when you've washed your wig, after you've washed it, just squeeze, wrap it in a towel, squeeze it to get rid of that excess moisture. Once you've actually done that, what I would actually recommend is you actually give it a very light spritz of the softening sheen. This actually helps to protect the fibre. It also actually helps against static electricity as well. Sometimes people get like quite a lot of static electricity in their bodies. It helps against that. And then at the end of the day, before you go to bed, when you've taken your wig off, always give it another spritz of the actual softening sheen. And if you've been somewhere, maybe you've been to a friend's barbecue, or you've been to somebody's house and they've been cooking and you've got those kind of smells of cooking on you, it actually helps to actually take all those smells away without you having to wash your wig every time you've worn it. So 7 to 10 days for washing it, and always use the actual tea range. All these products you can actually buy separately. If if run out of one, you can replenish it and just buy one. We do also sell them in a kit form like this, which is great because you've got everything together. If you're going away for a weekend, going for a sleepover at a friend's, you've got all your products to take with you. So it's a really handy little bag for you to actually keep and to actually use as well. So that is really quite important.
We've got another question come in regarding shampoo, Jane. So obviously we're all quite conscious of the amount of plastic that we use and dispose of nowadays. So a customer's asked, can they use a shampoo bar on synthetic? They currently use the tea range, but are trying to find a plastic-free alternative. I think those shampoo bars and things, it's like they're more natural, aren't they?
They are very natural, aren't they? Yes. I was seeing James Martin the other day, the chef. He's got one in his kitchen that he was using. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of James Martin. Yeah, he was using one. Without having tried it myself, I wouldn't be able to actually answer that 100%. I would recommend that you use the products that we actually recommend. Saying that, though, as a company, we are really quite a forward-thinking company, Aderans, and we're always trying to look for new products and actually look for different things that are actually going to be biodegradable and not use so much plastics. So I would say possibly that is something that will be coming out over time as we actually look into those things, isn't it? Because we're looking at the moment, we're working with a company. We're actually a Japanese company, for those of you who didn't know. We're owned by a Japanese company called Aderans, and they're very forward thinking, and at the moment they're looking at trying to find a new fibre, because a lot of people, is that client said, you get worried about landfill. How do you dispose of your synthetic wigs? And excuse me, normally we just throw them away, and people, we're getting more conscious about this all the time, about what we use, the bags we use, and everything else. So at the moment, we're actually looking at developing a new fibre, but this new fibre is actually made from the spider's webs. So if you can visualize a very fine spider web, that is actually what they're going to be making the strands of hair from. I've seen one prototype which it felt amazing and it felt just like hair. That's still in the very, very early stages. But as you can see, we're kind of working our way towards those things. So we've got natural things that are biodegradable, and we're not going to actually be, filling up all the landfill in the actual country, which is really great.
So Jane, in terms of the actually cutting and customizing wigs and hair pieces. A question we've had come in is whether any stylist, like just a normal stylist, can cut a wig or a hairpiece, or would you recommend personally going to a specialist salon for this service?
I think if you're looking for somebody to cut your wig, and I would always say go to somebody who is actually trained in cutting wigs. They are different to actually cutting human hair or anything else. It's the different tools that we actually use as well. But also people who are trained to cut wigs understand the actual inside of the wig and the foundation, how it's made. And that's really important to understand how that wig's been made, to know how that hair is actually lying, as if it was your own bio growing hair. A hairdresser would always look at your front hairline, they would look at the nape to see how your hair is growing, so they know what style they can actually give you if you're actually asking for a particular style. So I'd always recommend, if you could, go to somebody who's qualified to cut wigs. There's lots of people out there. We've got 7 different salons throughout the UK. All of our ladies, they're all qualified hairdressers. They can all cut wigs. We also supply to over 900 different trade accounts throughout the UK and Ireland. So if you rang our head office and wanted that information, who's your local supplier, we could actually do that for you. Also, we actually work really closely with the charity My New Hair, along with Trevor Sorby. And Trevor is actually, over the last 11 years, has actually been training hairdressers in that art form of how to actually cut wigs. So again, you can always pop onto Trevor's website and put your postcode in, and they'll be able to tell you or pinpoint you to the local salon who can actually cut your wig for you. But always go to a specialist, and you know, wherever you've bought your wig from. If you've bought your wig online, there's a lot of people out there who would be happy to personalize it for you and to actually cut it for you, which is great. And we've had some little interest coming up then with Trevor, isn't it? I can see.
Had a comment come through that says, "Yes, My New Hair" by Trevor Sorby. And I think it's somebody that's actually trained through that.
Done their training. Yeah, it's a great charity. We've actually supported the charity for the last 11 years. I do all the wig education for them, but we also supply all the wigs to My New Hair as well. So all those hairdressers who are learning to actually cut wigs and to personalize wigs, they all actually practice and learn on all of our actual products. So they're going to know how to actually cut those wigs for you and how to actually look after you. And there's a lot of people coming through now saying that they're trained like level 1, level 2, which is great. And yes, at the moment, still closed. Nobody's doing any training at the moment. I'm not doing any training here in our studios here in Brighton. And yeah, My New Hair, that's all cancelled at the moment as well. But hopefully towards the end of this year, we all might start getting back to some kind of normality, which would be great. And I just want to move on to show you this last one. And then we can get on to doing some cutting and styling. And as I'm cutting and styling, Bradley can ask me lots of questions and we can actually talk for the actual evening. This is the longest one we do in the collection, which is absolutely beautiful. This one's called the Nolan. The colour that this is in is one of our colours which was introduced, I think it was November, December time, if I'm correct, isn't it, Bradley? And they came out in the Noriko collection. It's called Peach Gold. And when you actually look at it quite closely, if I can bring it in quite closely for you, you can probably see those lovely different shades of very pale pink and peaches going through it. It's just a really beautiful colour, and I think it's in the name, because when we look at peaches we think of like the bright red pinky peaches, but you can also get white peaches as well, and it's just the same kind of tone that you actually get on those white peaches, which is lovely. This wig, I think, for people who want that long hair, maybe somebody's had their extensions taken out, they want to get that nice long hair again, this is actually great. It's a really modern style. It's very, very textured, the actual hair. As you can see, if I move it around for you, you can see that length and the really textured layers that we've actually got going through that as well, which is absolutely lovely. I think it gives you that salon look. When you've been into a salon, you've had your hair freshly washed and blow dried, maybe your colour done, you always come out with that really sleek hair that you can just whiz it around your face and it's just beautiful. Again, we've got that really all important lace front and lace parting on there. So it's going to actually sit very, very flat at the front of the head. But also because of that, the way it's actually knotted into that lace, or the way it's actually made, it just lifts up ever so slightly away from that front hairline. So it's almost as if you blow dried your hair up away from your actual forehead. It just gives it a really natural look. And if I bring that a little bit closer for you, again, you can see how natural that hairline actually looks when it's on. So
You know,
I think
Jane,
that's a great style, really.
That's the one that I talked about with you the other day when I was putting the brochures together. I was looking at the pictures, and one of the things that I really, really loved about Aderans when I actually joined the company was that the models and the shoots that were taking place, nobody was overly airbrushed, you know, there was none of this massive Photoshop kind of stuff going on, which I think is really important for customers to see how the products actually look and have realistic expectations of what, you know, people look like. And I was looking really closely at the images, zooming in, going, have they airbrushed the hairline? Why is that so good? It's such a good lace front on these pictures, or on these wigs that it's undetectable.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. I mean, when you look at that, the way it just actually lifts up as if you've actually had it blow dried with a big brush to give it that lift, and that little bit of body is lovely. And that lovely natural parting as well. It's just gorgeous. I think this is going to be one of those looks that a lot of younger clients really will actually want to actually have this summer and this spring, really. And that colour I love on it as well. That really soft, peachy, blonde shade. But you can see if I hold it that way up, let me just get where my camera is, you can see all those lovely layers put through it. And we were talking earlier, myself and Bradley, and we said it's very much like somebody's had their extensions put in, isn't it? And had the extensions added to their hair, and then you've just got all this choppiness actually going on, which I think is actually just, it's a great style. A young style, but a great style, and it just moves as well. It's very lightweight. Again, I think with all of these, they've actually removed some of the weight and the density to them, so they're not as thick as they have been in the past, and they're getting to a much more natural kind of thickness of hair. And as you can see, it just sits and hugs the actual contour of somebody's head quite nicely. And that's what you want. You want something, you want a wig that is going to actually look natural. Somebody's just asked this one, Sally asking, hi Sally, good evening. This one's called the Nolan, and it's in the peach gold colour, which is really a nice little shade. I'm just going to pop her back on the head, and what I'm going to do now is take the actual one of our other wigs, and this one's called the Shane, and the colour of this one is in another of our pastel colours, so one of the actual 5 pastel colours that we got, and this is in the pastel rainbow are, so again, that really subtle little root. But when you look at the colour, you can probably see the little pinks and blues and different shades actually running through that model's hair. This one, as we said earlier, you've got that really nice A-line bob, you've got that really nice shape through the back. I don't want to touch that shape through there. I think that just works really, really lovely. I'm going to put a little bit of product onto it. But what I'm going to do, and I think would work quite nicely with this particular model, is to actually take some of that hair through that side, taking it in a lot shorter through here and just around that front hairline, keeping it coming across the actual face, but just making it slightly asymmetric and taking that corner away, just to give it that slightly different look. And I think I might just texturize it more through that top, just so we can get a little bit more lift to it. If you wanted to make it smoother, once it's been cut, you can just brush it to make it smoother. But tonight we've got a little competition going on, haven't we, Bradley?
We have indeed.
Want to actually, whilst I'm actually cutting and starting to cut, if you want to actually say the question, can you remember the question?
I think I can remember the question, Jane. I think I've got it. Do you wanna?
Okay, and
you do it?
Yeah, I can do it. Right. Tonight, whoever gets the answer right, you're going to be lucky enough to win this particular wig. So it's going to be the new model that you're getting, which is really great. I mean, it's a lovely, lovely style, the Shane. And this wig will be actually sent to you once we actually get that right answer coming through. And I wanted to know two different things, and I have mentioned it a couple of times this evening as we've been talking. Can you tell me how many pastel colours we've got in the high fashion collection? And how many colours in total are in the high fashion collection? So we're looking for two different answers. The total number of colours in the collection and how many pastel colours. And we've added 2 new pastel colours into the collection. So there's 2 new pastel colours in there as well. I have mentioned it as we've gone on. That information's all available on websites as well if you're quite clever at doing 2 things at once. But yeah, that's our question for this evening. And a great prize as well, really, just to have something a little bit different. A new wig that you can try in one of our absolutely beautiful new styles. So yeah, in the collection altogether in the high fashion, we've got 34 different wigs. So you've got a huge choice, really. And we've also got 6 top pieces as well. So for those ladies with female pattern baldness, maybe just going thin on the actual top, they actually, you know, are catered for as well. So, you know, there's lots of styles, lots of different things going on. So I'm just going to actually start cutting this. I'm actually going to use a razor. When people are cutting a wig, or a hairdresser's cutting a wig for you, really don't use your normal straight cutting scissors. You only use those for texturizing, really. And you would actually use thinning scissors as well. And the thinning scissors, you can actually just remove some of that weight and actually cause, do a little bit of texture. I can see we're getting some answers coming through.
There's a lot of answers coming in.
Quick.
You know why it is, James?
Keep...
This week, the question is very much like how many sweets are in the jar. And I think people love that.
Yeah, how many Smarties? So as you can see, I'm cutting. When we're normally, you know, a hairdresser is normally cutting somebody's hair, we think about taking different sections and thinking about the angle of our scissors and things. I always think when we're actually cutting a wig, it's more like a piece of sculpture, because these wigs have been made, we've got the shape in them already. So all we're doing is kind of personalising it and just changing it and doing it to suit that client. Because we've all got our own personalities, how we wear our hair, how we dress and what we do. And that reflects in our hair as well. So I think every wig, if you just personalise it slightly, again, it makes the client feel as if it's more their actual hair. And I think that's really quite an important thing for us to be able to do, and for people, you know, who are selling wigs to clients to actually be able to offer that service. As you can see, just by a very few simple strokes, we actually changed the whole look of the side of that wig completely. And that's just a very, very simple couple of strokes that we've put in just to actually take some of that length away, just to give it that different little look. Have we got any more questions coming in, Bradley, that you'd like to talk about as we're
Yeah, we've got a couple of things.
going
One of them was
through?
actually a question from me that I wanted to ask about you cutting this piece. So with the colour, did you say it's the pastel rainbow that you're using on this?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I
the
remember
pastel
that colour
rainbow R.
from last year. So there was lots of the kind of pastel multicolours running through the ends, isn't there? And very fine kind of section highlights.
They're
When you're cutting,
really, really tiny, yeah.
really tiny. So when
And
you're cutting, is it removing those, or are they still prominent in the colour?
they're still going to be prominent in the colour, because if you can see that section of hair, I don't know how well, if I take her off, can you see all those shades coming through? I think you can, can't you?
Yeah, I can see very, very lightly. There's some green and purple,
There, you've
lilac,
got some
gold
green,
kind
you've
of
got some
a
blue.
rainbow.
Yeah, really, they're very, very soft, the actual shades in this wig. And they're very, very fine as well. So it's like somebody has actually taken very, very fine highlights of all those different colours. I won't be cutting those colours out, but what is probably going to actually happen, or what is going to happen, is by cutting it, you can actually accentuate the colour a little bit more. So you can make that colour stand out a little bit more as we actually want to. As I said, I wanted to keep that front quite long still. I don't want to take it short, but I just want to take those very ends off. So we can actually just sweep it across. So we've almost got like a little teardrop shape coming around the front of that client's eye, which, as you can see, it's just taking it around just like this, which is quite nice. It enables them to wear it quite flat if they want to, or they can really kind of lift it up as well. So I'm
Jane,
just
what
going
is
to take a
the
little bit.
we've got more questions for you, Jane. Sorry. So the first,
No, that's
this, I think there's a slight delay for our stream tonight. Apologies, everybody. So somebody's watching that missed the first bit of the presentation tonight. So what is the base like on the Shane? Is it a monofilament at all?
right. Let me show you. I'm quite happy to do that. Because I know a lot of you don't always join us right from the beginning. For those who have just joined us or just kind of popped in and they want to know what this wig, this is the Shane. So it's one of the new ones from the high fashion collection. The foundation of it is machine wefted. But what's lovely about it is you've got from this area, which would sit at the top of your head towards your crown, and this area here, so going down towards that part of your head, towards your occipital bone. This is actually machine wefted, but it's on a stretch net as well. So for those clients sometimes who are actually wearing wigs and they feel a bit exposed here if the wind blows, and sometimes you can actually see the actual wefting, that's going to actually solve all those issues for you. Then you've got the cap construction on the top, but the really important thing on this one, you've got that beautiful lace parting and the actual lace front as well. So a great kind of shape and a great style, I think. Foundation wise is absolutely lovely. And I was just looking for the actual price of this one. This one retails at £217, recommended retail price. And if I just pop my hand, that wig on the front of my hand, you can just see how natural, if we can see that, how that actually looks when it's actually on somebody's head. So it's lovely. That colour is the milk tea or which is again one of our rooted colours, and just a very, very soft shade. And it is like the milky colour through the actual ends of that particular wig. So That's exactly the same model as that we're actually working on here. And we're just going to keep just taking a little bit of length through that front. I don't want to actually remove too much of the length. It's almost just putting some shape into it for the style I'm actually trying to achieve.
Right, so Jane, do you want to, got two things just while we carry on doing that. First of all, I've been asked to give a wave to Kirsty Lynn's daughter who's watching tonight, so I'm just going to give a little wave. And second of all, did you want to repeat the question for tonight and give everybody another little chance to get in with
another chance to actually win? Yes, so for anybody who wants to win this particular wig this evening, which is one of our new styles, which would be great for you. The colour that is in is a pastel rainbow R, and we've added 2 new pastel colours to our collection. So bringing the collection up to, I won't tell you because the first part of the question is, how many pastel colours do we actually have? I did, yes. How many pastel colours do we have? And how many colours in total do we actually have in the high fashion collection? I've mentioned it as we've gone through the evening. I've mentioned the colours a few times as well. And I've mentioned like how many styles of wigs we've actually got. But yeah, how many colours in the high fashion collection and how many pastel colours? Pastel colours are being quite popular. I mean, we've added 2 more to the actual collection this season. And I could imagine quite possibly when we actually do our next collection as well, there'll be more colours added to it. As you can see now, I'm just texturizing and just taking a little bit of weight out through those ends, and I'm just doing it with my normal scissors, so I'm really just point cutting to actually take some of that weight out. Again, it's doing it as if it's a piece of sculpture. I don't want to actually be too precious about angles or anything. I'm just looking at the wig, and you'll actually know when you've got to a point that you're actually happy with it, because you've obviously got that picture in mind of what you're trying to actually achieve. I'm just going to take a little bit of weight through those ends. As you can see, we're just taking that away. And I think for any hairdressers out there watching, you could always kind of, you know, if you wanted to practice on a wig, you can buy a cheaper wig, and you know, from somebody, or if you've got a client who's going to actually be throwing her wig away, keep the wig she's throwing away and see if you can actually just practice doing a couple of different haircuts on that wig. Always look at the foundation though to see how it's made and how you can actually cut it and how much you can actually take off it. And that's a really kind of important tip when we're actually looking at actually cutting any synthetic wig. And I think products are really important as well. We're going to be doing a whole evening soon on different products, on finishing products as well, that you can actually use on wigs. We're just waiting for a line of products to actually come in that we're going to actually start using and selling as a company. So once we've got all those products in, we'll do a whole evening session of styling for you, so you know how to use the products on your human hair wigs, how to use them on your synthetic wigs as well. Any of you struggling at the moment to buy a wig or to actually get advice on actually purchasing a wig, all of our salons are actually still open. We're not open to the general public at the moment because of COVID. But if you wanted advice, we're actually doing WhatsApp calls to people so we can actually see you, talk you through different wigs so you can see different styles. And I know a lot of our trade accounts are actually still working that way as well. So any information you need to be signposted to a salon or signposted to one of our Aderans salons, again, just ring the number on the bottom of the screen or actually email info@trenco.co.uk, and they'll be able to actually help you and actually pinpoint you in the right direction. I think I'm actually happy with the amount I've taken off, because I didn't want to actually take too much off. I'm going to use a little bit of product now just to actually enhance the actual style I've actually got. And I've got a little favourite product that I actually quite like now, which is called Wow. It just gives the hair a little bit more shine as we put it through. So I'm just taking it through my hands. And I think when you're using products, a good kind of tip to actually say is just use a small amount of product. Don't put too much product into the actual hair. The more you actually put in, you might overload it, then you need to actually wash the wig again. So just start by putting a small amount of product in. You can always add product to it, but you can't take it away without washing it. So as you can see, I'm just rubbing it through. I've kind of put it through my hands. Bradley's giggling about something.
I'm having a giggle watching the chat tonight of people's debates about the numbers of colours. I've got a viewer that says, "God, I am so wrong." It's like when you're doing after you've had an exam, isn't it? And then you're all discussing what you put for the answers, and all your friends are saying something that's relatively similar, and you're sitting there thinking, that is not what I wrote.
Yeah, so I've just rubbed some of that product through. As you can see, I've got all that left at the back that I wanted, but also it just looks a little bit more texturized and a little bit more separated as well. So you can see that darker root coming through, which is lovely. I've taken that side a lot shorter for the actual client. You've got those lovely shades, those very, very soft pastel shades coming through. And then on that front, I've actually just kind of almost given it that little teardrop shape, but also with that lovely lift still through that top, which is what we actually wanted to retain. So I don't know what all of you actually think about that small little alteration, but I think it just personalises that wig for the client quite lovely, and it actually just makes it more her actual wig. So I'm going to leave,
tweaks, isn't it, Jane, that you can add to these pieces that completely change how they sit on the head. I think that's the most important thing to take away.
And I think that's what's, important about the wigs, as we said, right at the beginning of the programme. It's all about owning that wig, isn't it, really? I mean, you've bought it, you do own it, but it's actually being able to wear it with that confidence. And I think by personalising them slightly like we have now, it just changes it ever so slightly, so your wig isn't going to be like somebody else's. And, it's a different haircut, isn't it? No two haircuts are ever the same. And I think when we personalise a wig, no two wigs are ever going to be the same either.
No,
so
exactly.
That's going to some lucky winner this evening.
That, which we will get onto in a second, Jane. But I just wanted to mention, we've had a comment come through that they can't see any of the chats. Is that going on another platform? So just to let you all know, when we broadcast out to you, we are broadcasting out to YouTube, Instagram and Facebook simultaneously, and you will not be able to see any of the chat unless you are on all three at the same time. So you'll only see what's going on the platform that you watch us on. The majority of the chat we can actually see from our little behind the scenes room, and for what we can't, we have the lovely Zara manning our Instagram chats at the moment, so she's feeding that back through to us. So we've got a lot of things coming from all angles, and it's quite funny watching everybody squirm trying to get the answers correct. So I think without holding anybody ransom to that any longer, Jane, do you want to give us the answer to that one, and then we can let the lucky winner know that they've won the prize?
Yeah, the Answer is there is now, because we've got an addition of 2 new pastel colours, so we've got 5 pastel colours in total. And in total of the colours, the number of colours we actually have in the high fashion collection is 78. So the answer we were looking for was 78 and 5. And I think we've got quite a few of those correct answers as well, Bradley, isn't it?
Do you know what? We actually have a winner tonight, and it was, funnily enough, the first answer that came through. So when it came through, I was a bit like, oh, that was over quick. So
that was too easy.
Good luck. So well done to Jane Moss, who's watching us tonight through the Facebook platform. She is the winner of this wonderful piece that Jane has cut and customized for us tonight.
Brilliant. Well done, Jane. Congratulations to you. Bradley, if you can contact Bradley, or Bradley will contact you, and we'll get your address, and then we'll actually be able to package this one up and get that one out in the actual post for you. So yeah, that would be lovely. Brilliant. Enjoy wearing it, and if you're brave enough, take a picture and let us see what you actually look like in it as well, which would be really nice to see how this looks like on one of our actual customers, which would be really, really lovely. Thank you. And thank you for all your comments coming in about the actual cut and about the wigs. I do think, just to reiterate, this collection, or the new 4 wigs in this collection and the 3 new colours, are really quite exciting. There's something different there for everybody and different looks as well. So it's going to be a really nice collection to actually carry us through that spring and summer that we're actually looking for. We're going to be back with you again next week, Bradley and myself. And next week we've got another guest speaker with us as well. So we're in for a really interesting evening with a guest speaker. I don't know if we can say any more, can we, Bradley?
I think we should keep this one. Okay. Keep this one as a surprise. Yeah. We'll definitely let everybody know in the coming days, but it will be a really, really exciting show.
Yeah, it's going to be a completely different show. We've got a guest speaker again, so that would make it really, really good. So we're going to be back with you all at 7 o'clock again next Wednesday. So we're going to say our goodbyes to you now, Bradley and myself. But what we're going to actually do, for those of you who have actually joined us a little bit later and you missed the beginning of tonight's programme, we were just going to play this at the end of the programme. And then about 2 minutes before we went live, I said to Bradley, no, I think we need it at the beginning. So we actually played a video at the beginning showcasing all of these new styles and colours. So a good night from me and Bradley. Thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us this evening as always. We really appreciate it. And enjoy the video that we're going to actually finish with. It's fabulous. Really gets you in the mood to buy something new. Yeah.
Definitely. So just to finish this off, this collection, thank you so much for taking an interest in watching it tonight. It's out now over on www.prenco.co.uk, and we present to you the High Fashion Collection. Good night.
Thank you.